Battlefield 6 has officially sold more copies in this time frame than any other entry in the series. 7 million copies already sold. It's a fantastic record for a team that had rebounded so significantly from the objective failure of 2042 to maintain momentum and capture what Battlefield was all about. They had also made some tweaks, I believe, to Conquest that have been now reverted. I forget exactly the specifics of that, but I know that they've been making some quite rapid hot fixes to address community concerns, which is very encouraging when you sort of get a sense sometimes that these major studios spin their heel. It takes a bit too long to.
Yeah, I think it was reducing the number of tickets to make the matches end sooner, but everyone hated it. And to be honest, I played a game of Conquest last night, and it was over half an hour, and it timed out, and I was frustrated that it timed out. I didn't like that. I would rather it just like if people can't do 50 minutes or even an hour in a game of Conquest, that's whatever.
That's what it was.
That's Battlefield to me.
That's what
exactly,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a number of times where, like, artificially, rounds of, like, Battlefield 1943 would always feel like they went on so long because it was kind of a stalemate between the teams. And I used to love that. The idea of being able to, like, pick a base and that's where you're gonna plant your flag and try and defend, which I suppose in some ways for some people they might think that that's slow-paced or uninteresting, but actually for me that's the draw to Battlefield. It's getting in there with your squad, picking a location. Like we had a great round on stream on Saturday where it was you, me, and Steven just literally like bunkered down in one of the taller buildings. I think it's that map. It's sort of like it looks like a large building site in a sort of deserty area, and there's that one building where there's like multiple floors, and we sort of bedded down and we're defending it. It's great. It's such a treat. So huge shout out to DICE and the various teams, Criterion, Ripple Effect, that have all weighed in on the production of this game, because this rebooted approach, Vince Zampala coming over there from Respawn, clearly leveraging his expertise as an exec producer. You can feel, I think, that all of the marketing, all of the design choices were all about, let's go back to what worked, let's not really push things too far in another direction. It's a very smart, iterative sequel. And that's where I think this has now found such... It just gave people what they want. Detailed, big conquest maps with lots of cover, meaningful destruction, really good squad play, good feeling guns. Those are the things people want from Battlefield.
Yeah, it's a world apart from 2042, which we played when we first played it. Like 5 minutes in, you're like, this is bad.
Yeah,
you could just tell straight away. Like it was the map design, the feel, the destruction. It was all of it. And this is it feels like they've gone back to the good bits of Battlefield 5, and obviously previous Battlefield games. I think there are criticisms that can and should be made of it. It's doing certain things that are trying to emulate Call of Duty, with particularly with the map size and the map design. We've got like 3, I would say, decent maps, and the rest of them I think are too small, in my opinion, or too enclosed. Even the big conquest maps are a bit
tightly
small.
packed. Yeah, I think the maps that are on paper, their aerial view, are still quite a big surface area. They're very dense and they compact you in quite tight. There's one I like, it's one of the New York levels where it's got that sea base in the center that's basically just a clusterfuck in the center. Like it just feels like the worst parts of Operation Metro, which I never really liked at all for that reason. But there's a lot of surrounding areas which, again, the bases aren't that far apart. You feel like you're always on top of each other. So even though that the map itself has a lot of side streets and stuff, the bases themselves aren't positioned particularly well. And I think that creates that sense of feeling a bit on top of everything and a bit too much. Conversely, you then got maps like Liberation Peak, which I think are they feel like classic Battlefield with those big open spaces with lots of cover. And
I still don't know if it's that, but it's still not that big, is it? I mean, you can still get from one side to the other in a Jeep in probably under a minute, I would have thought.
Not in perhaps what we've seen things like Atacama Desert in the past, like those absolutely honking great levels. But maps like Liberation Peak feel closer to what I was hoping this Battlefield would be, which is really nice to see. I do have concerns on my side. I do have concern about some of the weapon balancing. So I think that shotgun that the assault class has is it should be effective at very close range. The problem is that the movement, which is a little bit faster and a little bit less heavy, and probably is aping Call of Duty a little bit, doesn't gel very well with that shotgun, which is very powerful. And I think that does create scenarios where that can be taken advantage of a bit too easily at this point.
I've definitely still not found my feet with the shooting and it feels good, but I'm not good at it. But I haven't been particularly good at a Battlefield game for quite a while. But like there was an example yesterday. I was crouching through a corridor because I knew there was someone about. There's no way he knew I was there. He sprinted around the corner, jumped in the air and shotgunned me, and one hit kill. And it was like, I went around the corner and my gun was pointing in the right place, and like I did everything right. My reactions, I guess, were a bit slow, but it was annoying that someone jumping in midair of a shotgun was able to kill me when I was like set up perfectly for that engagement. But that's quite rare that stuff happens. I mean, I get more frustrated by people shoot me from long range, which is it's probably my own fault for not using cover very well. I think the maps that appear to be coming, one of them certainly looks really small. So I think what the game needs is more big maps. But it will be interesting to see. What I would like is, like with Battlefield 5, there was a specific option you could choose where you would only play large conquest maps with.
Right.
I think they all had air vehicles on, and that was kind of the distinguishing feature. There aren't enough maps to do that at the moment. But I don't know how many maps have. Some of them you have air vehicles on, but it's a bit impractical. They fly off the map after like 10 seconds. So I think they need to focus a bit on addressing people's concerns with that side of stuff. And I hope they don't think because Call of Duty's coming out, they need to try and compete with that. I think they've done what they need to do
to differentiate, right? I think so, and I hope that certainly in terms of the map design, what I want to see is that in each new season, give us like a big classic large scale conquest map, and then if you need to balance that out with a smaller equivalent, which is clearly connecting. It has found an audience. So yeah, I'd want to see both of those things being featured in those seasonal updates. Game with Passion coming in on YouTube saying I turned that shotgun into a sniper, still able to use it as close range. Well, yeah, absolutely. I can imagine you putting the hours in, getting your accuracy up. Absolutely.
I would love to know how many people enjoy the map variety like that in terms of the size. I'd like to know whether you have people that really love the small maps and they're kind of that's their specialism, and there's some people that really love the big maps, because you could obviously, and you see some games they'll have big maps and then they'll take a segment of that big map and make it a small close quarters map. So if you want to play close quarters, you
some of the game modes do fit that better. So like Breakthrough deliberately shrinks the map down to one objective and puts the deployments very close together. So some of those maps which are already small, I think, are built to support those other game modes as well, and then they blow them out a little bit for Conquest. It's just what we're seeing is that not every map is then pushing to the scale that we'd like to see Conquest maps traditionally occupy, and that's something that is definitely something I'll be looking at when these seasonal updates do start dropping.